Hey guys, I am here to do the book talk for, wait for it, Clockwork by Cassandra Clare. I know what you're thinking. She read the second book in a series. Oh my gosh. But no. All my other book talks like Ruby Red and Shadow Me by Tahara Mafi, I read all the books in those series. It's just I never had the time to film the book talk of those books. The Infernal Devices series is actually the prequel to the Mortal Instruments. This takes place in London in the 1800s. I suggest you read this series before you move on to the Mortal Instruments series. I loved it. I think out of Clockwork Angel and this one, Clockwork Prince was my favorite because it's full of action, love, a lot of hot and heavy kissing scenes, and revelations. Some questions do get answered, but a lot of more questions arise. If you have not read this book, I highly suggest you read this series. So if you have not read it, bye. But if you have read it, let's jump right into it. Clockwork Angel left off with Will going to see Magnus. Clockwork Prince, we have Will in the graveyard talking to good old Mull. My first thought was he's buying Jem's medicine. They call it medicine. They don't call it his drugs. My theory about Will's parents being vampires were, that true. I would feel a little embarrassed about that one. In this book, we find out that Will lost a sister on their way to York, not New York. At first, I thought that was where they're going, but I just totally forgot that London, England had a York thing. Place. Will says that his sister died. So I'm here thinking, okay, he could still mean that his family is vampires because vampires are dead, technically speaking. When Cecily turned and looked to where Will, Jem, and Tessa were at, I thought her vampire senses are tingling. She knows Will's there. She knows Jem and Tessa and Will are there. But then I thought to myself, wait a minute. Cecily was out in daylight. Crap! They're not vampires. Somehow it never occurred to me that Will might have had two sisters. Benedict, Lightwood, I hate him. I really love Charlotte. I mean, she contained herself gracefully during that entire meeting, and after that meeting was over, she just kicks the wall. If I might make a suggestion, about 20 paces behind us in the council room is Benedict. If you would like to go back in there and try kicking him, I recommend aiming upwards and a little bit to the left. I know where you wanted her to kick him, Will. When they're trying to figure out who was gonna go to York, Tessa's like, I wanna go, I wanna ride on a train, I've never been on a train. Will's like, you won't like it. She just looks at him and says, how do you know I won't like it if I haven't even been on one? Will's response to that is, I've never swum naked in the Thames, but I know I wouldn't like it either. There you go, Tessa. If Will says it, you won't like it, you're not gonna like it. Proof. When Will goes back and tells Magnus his story about how he thought he was cursed because he let the demon out of the Pikes' box his father had. Let's just start by saying what was going through his parents' mind when they decided to keep all the Shadowhunter stuff, especially the Pikes' box. Will's dad was a Shadowhunter. You'd think he'd be the responsible one. He's the man. He brings the bacon to this family. He should have been, hey kids, gather around here. Let me tell you a story of when I used to be a Shadowhunter. And you see this nice little box over here called the Pikes? Don't touch it. A demon will come out and eat you. Kids get scared by that still, right? If you say something's gonna come out and eat them. If he didn't want to tell his kids that he used to be a shadow hunter, then he should have gotten rid of all his shadow hunting crap. So he touches the box. Okay, this Pikes' box can be opened by any shadow hunter. And we know, okay, we know that when a shadow hunter and a mundane get together, their offspring is going to be a shadow hunter. Will touches this box. Here's this huge demon. Will's older sister, we know now, Ella, comes in, tries to save the day, but she is inexperienced as Will is. She only knows about this because she read it herself. I highly doubt her parents told her anything about it. When Ella gets swiped to the side by the lizard tail of this demon, he tells Will, I curse you, you know, anybody who loves you is gonna die, and it's gonna start with your sister. How smart this demon was. he knew that he had pricked Ella, and the only reason why it was so convincing was because of that. That question was answered. Will's family are not vampires. When Magnus asks Will why does he want to get rid of the curse so badly, Will tells him that one beautiful line from Clockwork Angel that Tessa said when she was writing those entries to her brother. And that beautiful line is, if no one cares for you at all, do you even really exist? Will is made for Tessa. He thinks exactly like her. But no, it is later revealed that he read them off her diary pages. It was the night when Will decided to go get high off of demon powder, the yin fin, and right after that we have that stibby kiss between Jem and Tessa. The whole time that kiss was going on, I was like, you like Will, Tessa. What are you doing kissing Jem? If Tessa wouldn't have knocked over that box with all of Jem's drug, I don't know how far they would have gotten. We're still trying to figure out what Tessa is. Tessa asked Will, what is a Shadowhunter and a demon's baby? And Will tells her, we don't know, because the baby of a Shadowhunter and a demon is a stillborn. They're born dead. These training sessions with Tessa, Sophie, Gabriel, and Gideon are the product of Benedict saying that Charlotte doesn't know how to run the Institute. Along with only having 2 weeks to find Mortimer, now Tessa and Sophie have to be trained also. When Benedict offered, you know, I'm giving you my children to help you train Sophie and Tessa. No, you don't. You just want your kids to spy on her. With this, we get the story of Aloysius Starkweather and how his granddaughter didn't survive the ruining ceremony. Apparently, the word Gabriel uses is Forsaken. In the Mortal Instrument series, we learned that the Forsaken are actually humans who got ruined. And we all know that humans who get ruined they don't survive the process. They turn Forsaken. How does a Shadowhunter turn Forsaken? Is it possible that sometimes a Shadowhunter's blood is not strong enough to handle the ruining? We don't find out anything about that story, because then Gabriel starts bad-mouthing Charlotte, and Sophie lost it and she punches him. It was epic. And I thought Gideon was going to defend his brother, but I love Gideon. He's like, no, he deserved it. He needed a good slap in the face. He thinks father is this king and what he says goes, but I learned better, and it's just time before he learns that father is not right. Gideon, marry me. When Sophie goes to see Tessa finds blood on the collar of her uniform. She takes her to Jessamine's room, and what do we have on Jessamine's bed but Jessamine unconscious, tied to the bed with a head wound. Tessa asks her, what happened here? She gives her the note that is proof that Jessamine, she's actually a spy. For as long as I can remember from Clockwork Angel, she hates being a Shadowhunter. I never liked Jessamine to begin with in Clockwork Angel, but this book made me feel sorry for her because she would have done anything to get out of that institute. Wake up, Will, and his reaction pulled at my heartstrings, because from Clockwork Angel we know that Sophie and Will dislike each other. This is Will's reaction to what he found in that bedroom. Sophie did this. Our Sophie. I think I might be in love with you, Sophie. Marriage could be on the cards. Will, this is why I love you, Will. So they decided to test this. And can we just talk about how weird that party was with the freaking automatons in the background, and then Benedict Lightwood with that demon person with the snake hair? Was that Medusa? Was he making out with Medusa? Will and Tessa do kiss at that party. Who finds them kissing? Magnus Bane. I never really got to know Magnus Bane in the Mortal Instrument series. In this series, we do get to know some things about him, and I heard there's other books about him, about what really happened in Peru, because he hinted in one of the Mortal Instruments books that he was banned from Peru. So I really want to read that. I want to know what he did. And during that party, that fairy comes up to Tessa and tells her that story about how they take their sick children and switch them with mundane babies. Wait a minute. but did that happen to Tessa? When she's like, no, don't worry, that didn't happen to you. I was thinking, okay, it didn't happen to Tessa. It happened to someone else. For some reason, Aloysius Starkweather comes to mind. Here we have Aloysius Starkweather's granddaughter who turned Forsaken at the ruining ceremony. Are they connected? When Tessa goes the second time to meet Nate, dressed as Jessamine, he tells her that they're not brother and sister, that her mom was actually a Shadowhunter. This is what Mortimer was talking about when he said his mom didn't know what was being done to her. So in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, maybe they did something else, because her mom's the Shadowhunter. So they must have done something extra to make sure that the baby was born alive. Will figures out he's not cursed. He's finally free to live his life. He's going to go and fight Tessa to tell her, and I'm just like, I wasn't in tears, but I was emotionally moved. I was like, oh my gosh, yes, this is the part where they're finally gonna get together. But no, Tessa makes the mistake of saying yes to Jem when he asked her to marry him. Die. I don't doubt for a second that she loves Jem. Part of me only thinks she said yes because she knows Jem is dying, and she wants to make him happy and however much time he has left. Tessa, those are good intentions, I get it, but please, this is your happiness too. If you have to mentally tell yourself, I love him, you're not in love with him. That scene when she tells Will that she's engaged to Jem and that she loves him makes Will believe that she loves Jem and not him. Will, I shall have my revenge. I'll have you, Will. I'll marry you. How wonderful is it that Charlotte's gonna have a baby? And I also found out that Charlotte is a Fairchild, which means she's related to Clary. In the end, we have this meeting. And what is revealed in this meeting, you say? Demon Pox is real. Oh, when Sophie says that Benedict Lightwood has demon pox, as soon as those words left Sophie's mouth, I was like, anybody who told Will otherwise is gonna have it. He's not gonna shut up about it. He's just going to be, I told you so. He's got I told you so, everyone in that room. And then that little song. Demon pox, oh demon pox, just how is it acquired? One must go down to the bad part of town until one is very tired. Demon pox, oh demon pox, I had it all along. No, not that pox, you foolish blocks, I mean this very song. For I was right and you were wrong. And then Charles like, someone shut him up! But he told us. He did told us. And I'm sorry, Will. I apologize for not believing you. So my questions after finishing this book: what is Mortimer gonna do with the Pisces box that he stole from the Institute? How can Tessa's mom be a Shadowhunter? What was that extra step to make sure that Tessa was born alive? Is Tessa going to go through with the wedding? Is she gonna marry Jem? How is this all gonna come around to what the fairy told Tessa? Definitely my favorite part. Will finding out demon pox is real, Sophie slapping Gabriel Lightwood, and Magnus giving Will a pain-killing spell when Camille returns and Magnus breaks up with her. As they're leaving, Magnus kisses Will in front of Camille. They're outside the house already. Magnus is shrugging on his coat, and Will's like, did we kiss by any chance?
Oh no. No. That's the pain-killing spell I put on you. Makes you hallucinate sometimes.
Classic excuse. It makes you hallucinate. That is all I have for you guys today, and I'll see you in my next video.